Hey everybody, I hope this is working. It is Thursday and I'm in Herod from Craftiness on a very rainy, cool day here in California. It's the kind of day that makes me want to go back to bed, read my book. But I'm not, I'm here instead, and I'm going to jelly print with you today. It's been a couple weeks since I've jelly printed. I realized I was various things, including Thanksgiving, and then I was out of town and flew in thinking I'd be here on time last week, and I wasn't. So jelly printing has fallen a little bit by the wayside. And I had someone ask me what it is the other day. Someone at one of my crops. Craftiness is a little confluence of paper crafts. So when you come here, you'll find that I have things to do scrapbooking with, but I also have things to do jelly printing and mixed media with. And sometimes the groups don't know about each other. And so part of what I do here is I try to combine them. As you can see in the background, I have both my printed, stamped, stenciled, and my mixed media and my die cuts. So, when you come here, you get a whole variety of things to try. So, jelly printing. I actually came today with a very specific intention to demonstrate ombres. I've done it before, but I just really enjoy doing it. So I'm going to show you. Of course, I got stuck peeling the paint off my paintbrush. Oh, that's not good. What's that? There we go. All right. Oh, I just realized I don't have my computer set up to watch here, so I'll have to do it this way. Let's see. So, we get a nice glow from my ring light here. All right. Okay, so there's my jelly plate. And I'm just going to start by doing the ombre, and then I'll start working with actual patterns. So an ombre is combining two or more colors together in a way that they fade into each other. And it's really fun to do on a jelly plate. Let's see if I can, I sense that today might be the day that I pull some new paints because some of these are empty. So this is a Paper Artsy Hey Pesto. I'm pretty sure that this is a Seth Apter color. He did a massive demo yesterday, which I'm sure is still on his website, on his Facebook page, if you want to go and check it out. He's very good about that. He does these amazing demos. Okay, so I'm going to start by taking my brayer and pulling one color down. And then I'm going to move over and I'm going to use the other side of the brayer to pull the other side down. And I'm going to start moving it back and forth, but never to the point where this ends up over there, so that I always just have the one color on one side of the brayer and the other color on the other side of the brayer. Both of those kind of disappeared. Oh, because they're both translucent paints. Well, there you go, Inhered. Explanation on the label. But let's see what we get. Sometimes when something looks really faint on the jelly plate, you can get a really nice look on your paper. And this is a cleaning print. You can see that I'm just pulling off every little bit of goop that's on my plate. All right, so these two colors are probably maybe too similar, but you can still see the ombre. Hopefully, you can see the fade from green to orange. So that is the point. I don't know if that's. Oh, I hope I haven't permanently damaged my plate. I hope. All right, there's an opaque color, and now that's translucent. Come on. I'm not even thinking at this point whether or not these colors are great together. I'm just going to put down a couple and see if I can't get a little better coverage. Actually, let's do something fun. Let's do something more fun. And you can see I've got a variety of paints. This is Martha Stewart. I've got my Paper Artsy, I have my Deco Art. All of these are available in the store. You could use anything though, including Tim Holtz, your Dina Wakeley's. All right, let's see if we can't get, I think that blue decided to be a butthead. Why did you do that, blue? Let's see if we can't get that out a little bit. All right, well, that's a lesson in how jelly plates work too sometimes. She laughs uncomfortably. All right. Okay, it's still made the point. I think what happened there is I just had too much blue. You know, and these are all now going to be backgrounds, so I'm not worried about these not coming out beautifully. I just, I'm just playing around with, you know, trying to get this effect. So, and I actually literally, the paper you may notice is just a stack of blank paper I had sitting on my desk, and I thought I'll just use that today. Okay, so that was more of a cleaning pull, a pull just to pull, you know, some of the grungy paint that was on there, but y'all know me, I love that sort of thing. All right, let's see. Let's do it again. All right, I just brayered off some of the extra paint that was on my brayer. Come on. All right, so not as much paint this time. Oh, let's not do something. I pulled on something the other day. It was like gold and purple, and I can't remember why I was wearing it, but then I had an intense flashback to when I was in high school, because of course my colors in high school were gold and purple. And yeah, it's not the most gorgeous combination, but here you go. Little taste of my high school years for y'all. Remember, the key is you never go completely over, and you never from one side or the other. So you always have this color is always matching this color, and this color is always matching that color, but then they blend in the middle. That's the idea. Hi, Laura. Good morning. Oh, that seemed to come out well. Look at that. Okay. So again, maybe the color choice isn't gorgeous, but the effect is there. There's that ombre that I was going for. Now let's see if I can just maybe if I was just quiet for a few minutes and actually just worked on this, I could get something that I liked. I like contrasts, so let's see what happens if I do a couple of colors that maybe you wouldn't necessarily want to put together. Now you want to pick up your brayer and move it around, otherwise you're just going to get splotches all in the same place. Looks like it might be prettier. So believe it or not, when you want to create a skin tone, one of the best ways to do it is to add a little green. So you see I had a pink down and a green, and what we might find in the middle is something that actually looks a little more like a skin tone right in there. See that? Look at that. That little green with a little peach or a little yellow can bring a skin tone to feeling to your work. And then obviously you would adapt that depending on how dark or light you wanted to make it. Now this is just me using a sort of smaller brayer. You can get brighter effects, bigger effects using a smaller, bigger brayer. I don't know why I get these splotches. That is so funny. We'll just go with it. We'll embrace it, right? Because we're jelly printing. That's what we do when we're jelly printing. Go with it. Now that was a lot of paint, so that's going to come up well. Ooh, that actually worked pretty well. Look at that ombre. Ooh, suck you in the face. Love it. Okay. And I do have some paint left on both the plate and my brayer, so I'm just going to do a cleansing pull. And so that means I just put down what little paint I had left on the brayer, and I'm hoping I pulled up some of that grungy stuff. And you know me, I love the grungy stuff. Okay. You can also put it down again. Okay, so that's the idea. Little ombre effect there. Let's see what happens. I'm going to use a little more intense color, but then this time I'm going to do some layering up. Hi, Lois. Thanks. Let's see what happens. Let's just see. Here is a purpley blue and a red. And ombre them together. All right. So before I pull this, I'm actually going to pull out, I've really been enjoying working with this particular stencil. It's one of my Crafter's Home stencils. It's worth remembering that you have to put it down backwards in order to get the words to show up properly. So first I'm just pulling up from in between the stencil, and let's see, so that pulled up a little bit of the stencil that was on the plate pulled up the parts the stencil opened up, and now I'm just going to put down another color, and I did not clean my brayer first, so I'm going to get an interesting effect here. I'm going to pull this up and then I'm going to pull this print. Oops. It pays to have some space to put your dirty stencil down on when you do this. And let's see what I get. I don't think this one's going to be pretty. I think this one's going to be interesting. All right. There we go. Now, this is a single print, right, where I pulled it all up at one time. I could go in and do other things, or I could have pulled it up with a piece that already had some paint on it, and then maybe I wouldn't have this dead space. But this was, two different things going on in one print. And partly you can see I've got some issues with my paint beading a little bit, and that happens sometimes. I'm going to brayer off the goop off of my brayer and try to get it a little clean. And then I don't know if you can see that I actually have some ghost printing here, which is a little bit of leftovers from the last print that I did. So I'm just going to use a little titanium white. This is my Basics acrylics. These are one of my favorite paints in the store. And I'm just going to lightly brayer it on. I don't want to brayer too aggressively because the brayer itself will pull that paint off. But I do want to get it nice and thin because otherwise all I'll do is pull the white and I won't get the print that I want. Let's see, turn this over. I'm actually going to do this onto this. I have a little bit of my bristle paper in here too. You notice I'm not using my registration piece today. Thanks, Laura. Because I have a stack of different size papers, and so I'm just gonna eyeball it. Now if I wanted to do a print, and maybe I will do it at some point where I have more than one print on the same piece, I'll register it. So this is a cleansing pull, a ghost print. You can see I have a little bit left over from the print that I did before, and I pulled up sort of the ghost image that was left, which is kind of cool in its own right. All right, so I am going to go ahead and layer up on some of these prints. Again, if you're using a stencil with words, you want to make sure the words are backwards, so that when you do them, ooh, a little white left in that too. This one, I'm going to go ahead and layer up on my ghost print and see what happens. And just remember that, you know, the same principle applies that I'm always preaching. If you don't like it, you're not finished, especially with jelly printing, because jelly printing is a layering technique. If you don't like it, you can put a whole nother layer down on top of it. Preserve, you know, those layers that were there before are still there, they're just underneath. And you can get really nice effects, you know, with putting stuff over something you don't like and having it, when you put something over top of it, it pushes what you don't like back and it becomes part of the background. And sometimes that's all it takes to change something that you're like meh about into something you're like, oh, that's awesome. So here I've got this. I'm just going to print over top of this. Not unlike the last time I demoed, which was a few weeks ago now. I was using the same technique of putting layers of this particular stencil down and picking them up with the same print over and over and over again. So you can see it's gotten a little busy. I'm going to add something with a little contrast in this next one, and maybe a little less paint. Let me see. Oop. Almost did it backwards. Let's see what happens if I add a little gray. All right, so I didn't try hard enough to get the print, what's it called? Let's see, maybe that's right. To get the stencil here to the plate, so it's squidged underneath it a little bit. Doesn't bother me, but it might bother you. So you can kind of see what's going on there, getting a little busy. I actually think I'm going to pivot and maybe pick up. Do you see that I've got some stuff going on here? Let's see if I can pick some of that up with one of my other prints that didn't pull so much. It might be too dry though. Oh, nah, that's not so bad. Got a little bit of something there. And let's clean this off. And then I'm going to use a little white to pick this, just this side up. See what happens. Ooh, a little white, whoops. I guess I'll just do a whole print. Let's see what pulls up. It's a nice rainy day to do this sort of thing on. So just sit here and play. I'm gonna throw that down. Preserve this. We're gonna rub it down because I had a lot of paint on there, and so I'm really gonna just try to get it so that it picks it all up. Yeah, sort of. All right, so another good background to put some more stuff down onto. If I keep going with this particular stencil, let's see what I get. do the same print I just did. See what happens. Interesting. I guess I had a little bar there that I didn't realize was happening. It's fine. I will fix that by doing this. Put something high contrast value on that side and very intentionally printed it over that line. And you can see now I have obscured that quote mistake a little bit. Okay. I'm just going to do a little bit of printing. Oops, this. Oop, that was wet. I want to leave that. So now I'm just layering up on this one again, just adding some more interest. A lot of my stencils that are sitting here next to me are compromised. They have a lot of gook on them, so I need to swap them out for ones that are not goopy. Goopy. Ugh, words. Words are hard. What I'm going to do now is just add a layer of something transparent. So I'm now intentionally looking for a color that says it's translucent. That one's too... Considering that I keep grabbing them accidentally, now that I want one, it's disappeared. Okay, fine. We'll do the color that I showed you, this pastel color. And I'm just gonna put it down on this side and roll it out as a whole color. And the idea behind this is that I'm going to try picking it up with my print here over top of some stuff that's already on there that's dark. And because I use the translucent, I'm really hoping that I get a nice, shadow effect. Do you see that? So you can still see what I had down on there before, but I filled in all that white space, which is really what I wanted. And now I'm going to just see if I can pick up this ghost print that's sitting here, tempting me. So I'm going to put a little white down. See if I can be more moderate with my white this time. Just want a veil. Maybe what you want is a veil. Almost see through it kind of thing, which hopefully you can see that. You can see that. And then yeah, love it. Look at that grunge. Super love it. That's exactly what I like in a ghost print, is just a little hint of several different prints that came before. And, just a reminder, I've got, versions of this print now, all kind of related to each other. So that is a ghost print of that. Do you see that? How that's similar? So yeah, that's fun. I like that one a lot. What are you going to do with these in here? Good question. Good question, Craftiness fans. I'm not sure. I just really enjoy the process. And you all know that I'm a process crafter. I do this for the process more than anything. I do love making finished projects and having things to give people, but for me, the joy is in the doing, and the therapy's in the doing, right? I talk a lot about how this is therapeutic in some ways, and truly believe that getting out some paint and making a mess with no expectations of yourself for what it will look like and what it'll mean, I think is really, really, really valuable. It's a really valuable exercise for ourselves. So I really encourage you to do this just because, even if what you're going to do is put these things next to the fire to start your Christmas fire with. Cool, look at that. So there's that ombre underneath, and then there's a little bit of a I guess that came off of the, I was going to say that turquoise came off of the stencils. So that's what happens when you don't clean your stencils. So I'm going to do one more. And this one actually, I have a plan, because I want to get contrasty. But I want to do it this way. I'm going to use some white instead of some dark color. And we'll see what we get. I'll print this way. And there is still paint on my stencil, so I don't want to overwork it so I don't end up with too much on it that way. Because I did that one sideways, it doesn't really matter if it goes up or down. So I just plunked. There you go. So there's a contrast with a bright color on top of some midtones. And then again, I feel like maybe it's gotten a little muddy. Ooh. So here's another one of my earlier ombres. See if I can't pick up some of this paint. Yep, sweet, look at that. See, that looks great. Do it again, see if I can't get even more. Not really. And then, you know, I was talking about this one getting a little muddied. So what I might do is, and you know, let's just stick with a theme, because the whole idea behind this is that you end up with these repeating themes on top of each other. The same stencil over and over and over again, and it becomes this sort of echo effect that I just love. I love it as an effect. Let me think. This color is called Squid Ink. This is a Seth Apter color. A lot of these are colors that I got in classes with him, or because I love them, but I did do a lot of classes with him at one point. All right, so I'm just going to all right, so hopefully you can kind of see what happens when you throw something contrasty on top of something. All of that stuff in the background coalesces and falls back. It's still super busy, so I could do it again with something else. What I could do is do a veil like I did with the other one, where I create some color at the bottom. In fact, let's do that with a little bit of something neon-y. Before I do that though, do you see this crud that's on here, this ghost print that's sitting? I don't want that to be on the print that I'm doing now. Oh, picked up a little blue. So I'm just gonna pick some of that up like this. I could use a baby wipe or some cleanser and really get that off, but I'm too busy right this second. Let's see what happens if we put a translucent layer of this bright orange along the bottom of this. Let's see if it makes it more muddy, more confusing, or if it, a little bit. So it toned down some of that a little bit. So this is one of those ones that I might keep working with, just to keep, and I might do things like just adding a little stripe. So now I'm just throwing stuff onto here like I would if I were art journaling. I'm like, I don't like how that's coming out, so I'm going to just throw something else on top and see what happens. Because that's what I do. Nope, this paint is almost done. I thought I had it as lid. Okay, this is South Pacific, translucent. Pretty sure it's another South Africa color. Just gonna draw out a stripe and have that going down my whole piece. Yep, see how every piece, every layer creates a new layer on top. So I'm always layering up and I'm pushing the stuff behind it back. And I have this thought that I'm going to do. I don't often spend a lot of time auditioning colors for this sort of thing. Auditioning means actually looking around and choosing a color versus just, you know what, I'm going to pull a ghost print because I can see there's a lot of cred on here. So, just to show you how much could be on a plate without you realizing it. Look at all that. All right, so now I just want a little bit of color over here. And this is actually getting quite damp, this page, because I haven't really let it dry in between. But now I could come along with the same one. This upside, right side up, and I could add something on top and hopefully it'll pop up as the focal point at this point. So same. Good thing I don't really care that my clothes end up painty. So this is the same print that I've been working on for the last few minutes. Anyway, so it looks a little dramatic in the video versus what I'm trying to do, so I don't know why that is, but it doesn't look quite that dramatic here, but I'm going to do one more pull and then we'll call it good for today because I need to go get ready to open. But I'm going to come back to this and I'm going to tell you that's too much paint, and so I'm going to do something which I almost never do, which is take some away. Roll it out actually on a side piece. Okay. And now I'm going to throw this down over the top and see what it does, and then I'm going to call it good. We're going to live with whatever this looks like. All right, and that's what it is. All right, hopefully you can see the original ombre back there a little bit, the various layers that are interacting with each other. I've got some cool prints today. I've got this one, which is busy, and I got the ghost print, and I also have this one that's pretty busy. I have this one that's pretty moderate, and this one, here's another one that's pretty a little less busy. This is that single pull that I pulled, and then I have a couple more pieces that I can use as backgrounds. If I were to rank them, all right, so you can see I've got my personal preference are these, I like that. these ghost prints. And then this print that I've been working on I actually really like. And go down from there. I like them all, so don't read too much into that because they're all pretty fun. But I'm going to pull one last ghost print with a dark color, and then I'm going to call it good. I keep saying that. I've said that twice already, haven't I? All right, this one I'm just going to dot around and see if I can't get some nice moderate coverage. Maybe today I'll actually clean my Geli tools. That didn't pull up as much as I thought it was going to. You can see I've got quite a bit still left there, so let's see if I can use the fact that the paint is a little wet. There we go. So the paint was still a little wet, so I was able to go down and pick up that paint that was left, which you might not have been able to see, but it was there. That is that. It's actually a little divot in my plate, which is a shame because that's hard to fix. And so I'm getting this white spot on my prints. Thanks, Lois. I like them all. Great. So I hope that gives you some inspiration for this gloomy day, and that you give it a try. If you're like, I want to do that but don't have any of the equipment, guess what? I sell it here at the store. You can buy it online if you're not local, and you can buy it and choose curbside pickup if you are local and don't want to come in. I know that people are still cautious out there, so I am available in multiple ways to get you what you need to do some of this stuff. So thank you for tuning in, and I hope to see you at the store soon. All right, bye everyone.